Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Beach Season, baby. Oh my gosh, another year, another draft in the books. My God, Crane Dog. It was a hell of a ride. This draft. I mean, there were some ups, there were some downs, there were some head scratchers, there was some pure insanity, trades left and right. The Atlanta Falcons seem to have been on mescaline the entire time they were drafting. Um, I don't even know what was going on in the dirty South there, but you know what? Their head scratchers and their failures is our gain. Anytime another team does something stupid or that you just don't understand, it's good for our team. Your Oakland Raiders somehow decided to
Las
draft
Vegas. Yeah, they drafted really good.
Las Vegas, Oakland. Like what? No, they're Oakland. They're always Oakland. Whether it doesn't matter where they play. The Las Vegas Raiders was a money grab for a bankrupt and poor organization. You know, you had the poorest owner in the world who couldn't even afford to put new plumbing in the stadium, had sewage leaking down on Mitch Holtis's head in the press box.
Okay.
And so it's true. It's true. And so you had to get out of the Coliseum and you didn't have money to build your own stadium. And we sure as heck know that the city of Oakland wasn't going to pay for a new stadium.
Oh no,
so
they
you
won't.
had to go. So you had to go and move in across the street from Celine Dion, who's there in residency until Christ comes back, until the rapture.
It clearly benefited for the Raiders at this point. So you know what? It's good they're at a unpoop filled type stadium.
Well, it benefited the Chiefs too because they got to enjoy those nice amenities when they were sitting there and winning a Super Bowl.
You're right.
On your guys' field,
and they allowed them to.
The NFL forced them to. Did you saw Mark Davis's face when he was being interviewed about that, and he was like, "Well, they won the AFC, and the AFC winner is the one that gets to go there, whether we like it or not." He was so pissed off that the Chiefs were in his locker room, and I'm happy. I'm glad that he was angry. Anytime that Mark Davis is angry, I feel like an angel gets his wings. Like back in the day with was that It's a Wonderful Life. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Not anymore. Anytime Mark Davis is pissed off, an angel in heaven is blessed with a new set of wings.
Or also his hairline continues to recede, or his haircut continues to really be really bad. But that's
or he just gets a toddler's haircut. He goes home and his mom cuts his hair. She puts a bowl on top of his head and she just shaves it with a 2-guard all the way around.
You know what that is? She says,
there, Marky Mark. You're good to go, buddy.
You know what that is right there? That's a man who wants to save his money clear as day so he can do his at-home haircut so he can spend it on the field to make it even better.
That's a man who couldn't afford to fix the plumbing in his stadium. He can't even afford to go to a barber. How's he going to be an NFL
Okay, Rocky,
owner?
We're not roasting the Raiders here. We're getting to the draft recap. Let's do
this. Every day is roasting the Raiders here on Beach Season. We talk about the draft, but we also talk about how much we hate the Raiders. Except for I know you love them and I love you, and it's all in good fun.
Likewise, Rocky. I even have a baseball in my hand. Likewise.
Likewise. I love you, buddy. All right. Well, before we get started, it's time for this week's edition of What's Hot with Crame Dog. Crame Dog, what's hot?
Right now, what's hot with Crame Dog? Well, there is a draft going on that's outside of, NFL caliber type of talent, but it's the WWE draft. It actually comes into Kansas City, and whenever this does release, the WWE draft has made its way through on Monday night. I'm going to it. Can't wait to see who's the first round or the second round draft pick at whoever goes to Raw or SmackDown. So if you're like a wrestling mark like myself, and also a draft enthusiast, no matter what it is, this is it for you, Rocky. I know you should tune in to see if you can see this face on TV.
The WWE has a draft?
Yes. It shakes up the roster.
Isn't that just a casting call?
I mean, basically.
Just auditions? It's just like you come and you read for the part of heel number 1?
Oh, no, it's not like that. You draft on how the superstar is currently. Like on SmackDown, the first overall pick was Bianca Belair, which was deserving than Liv Morgan was for Raw. So it's pretty sweet.
Huh. Okay.
It's my type of stuff, Rocky.
I know. It's your type of stuff. I heard something from a friend of mine. We were at the pool yesterday here in Florida, and he was saying that that Stone Cold Steve Austin's Austin 316 was actually improv and ad-libbed because
Oh,
the guy who was fighting at the time, his whole shtick was he like quoted Bible verses, and I guess Stone Cold Steve Austin was like, I don't know anything about this, but Austin 316 says, blah, blah, shut the hell up or
I
whatever.
just whooped your
And,
ass.
yeah. And that's like how that got started, was that he improved it one night.
Oh, that's interesting. I have to fact check that. That's pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah, so fact check that for me. Let us know on the next episode.
We'll do. We'll do. Then I
That's
have
true or
baseball
not.
this week. I got a baseball game on Tuesday night, but no.
What's your average at right now? Let's keep everybody up to date. Where are we at?
I'm batting 500 on the season in 4 games.
Dang. The Royals need to call you up, bro, or at least the Monarchs. At least the Monarchs.
I wish.
Yeah, you play out there at the Legends.
They'd be pretty sick. That'd be awesome, actually.
If you couldn't get on with the Monarchs, maybe you could at least be a Savannah Banana.
That'd be. I should just go get my Savannah Banana hat now and just wear it throughout this podcast.
I mean, they might be. I'm a diehard Royals fan, but the Savannah Bananas might be my favorite baseball team. For those of you who don't know who the Savannah Bananas are, they are an independent league team that plays in Savannah, Georgia. They hold the record for the most consecutive sellout games. And it's because they do insane things like go up to bat on a pogo stick, or
they'll have a bat on fire.
A bat on fire. They'll have the center fielder run in and leapfrog over the pitcher and catch the ball in the air and try to throw a strike, and have the center fielder pitch a pitch.
If there's a foul ball out into the stands and a fan catches it, it's an out no matter what. That's banana rules.
Yeah, they have their own banana rules, like tons of banana rules for
it's
stadium.
Awesome.
Yeah,
they do it right. It's 2 hours long. It's an exhibition. It's always great.
They have dance parties in the middle of the game. Like it's an insane way to watch and play baseball, and it's super fun. So if you're ever in Savannah, Georgia, check out the Savannah Bananas. There you go, Savannah Bananas. You just got some free publicity here from Beach Season. Beach Season, the official NFL Draft podcast of the Savannah Bananas.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to our unofficial sponsor today, the Savannah Bananas, for sponsoring this podcast.
All right. Anyway, what a great draft we witnessed over this week.
What a great and insane draft. And that was so much fun because like you just didn't know what was going to happen. There were so many people that just like slid like to the third day that you weren't expected. You weren't expected. TJ Tampa didn't go until the third day. Troy Franklin must have murdered somebody and buried him in his backyard, because I don't know how he slid to the third day. Like I understand that he's a little bit stiff and he's a ex receiver and doesn't have the size to, and he's thin, and maybe he doesn't have like the burst off the line that people want. Like all that aside, like some of the receivers that got drafted before him, like it was a straight up like slap in the face disrespect that they got drafted before Troy Franklin. All that stuff aside, unless Troy Franklin is a murderer. And we don't know that. We don't know that. No, we don't. He's not. He's not a murderer that we know of. Allegedly. Allegedly, Troy Franklin is not a murderer.
The thing with Troy, though, it's awesome to see him actually going to be paired up with the quarterback that he had in college. I think it's pretty sweet the fact that him and Bo next are going to probably have that nice little connection, hopefully, in a Broncos uniform. And granted, we don't want to see that happen in person, but it's cool. I like seeing stuff like that because there's two familiar faces for each guy's going into that locker room now coming up. But it's wild that he was a day 3 selection. Like, I'm shocked.
Unless Bo Nix helped them hide the body.
Oh, okay.
You really want those people in your community and in Denver? I mean, I'm just saying. No, I'm joking. I don't know anything about that. It's not true. Actually, I really respected Troy Franklin coming into the draft, and I still do. That he was like one of the only like big ticket, big name prospects who went to the combine and did absolutely everything. He didn't hide. He didn't hide his deficiencies. He didn't hide his warts. He showed up and he competed. And I really respect that about Troy Franklin, and the fact that he was punished for it by the NFL, essentially by sliding all the way to day 3. All that's going to do is make it to where more of these guys are going to pull in Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. Like the teams are complaining that these people aren't working out the combine, and they're sitting out and they're and they're passing on tests and they're not competing and everything. But then they sit there and reward the guys that do it by drafting them super high, and they punish the guys who actually show up and put their name on their numbers. Like it's hypocritical by the teams that they're punishing the dudes who actually show up and do what they want them to do.
What I'm curious is it your character aspect? Is it the interview process? Because I love being able to see the tape, being able to see what you did at the combine. I'm just curious if it's the interview process, trying to individually meet with teams outside of doing the draft, not the draft, the combine interviews and all of there. I'm just curious if it's that. Maybe he's not the most talkative. Maybe he's not the most outspoken. Maybe that's the thing, that's the knack on him, because I mean everything shows that he's a great wide receiver. Get him in the right system, and honestly, we'll see what Sean Payton does draw up between the two of these guys.
I'll tell you what, if you go on YouTube and you search under NBC Sports videos, and you find Connor Rogers who's also with the NFL Stock Exchange, another great draft podcast with him and Trevor Sikkema. But if you go on there and you see his interview with Troy Franklin, the dude is one of the nicest, most personable people I saw the entire draft cycle. He was so enjoyable to listen to and hear him talk about how much he likes football and his knowledge of the game. So I can't see that being the thing that turned teams off. There has to be like a report out there that we don't know about. I don't know what it was, but it was just insane to me that he went at that point. And then also, or you got another take on Troy Franklin?
I thought I had him at a second round grade. So the fact that he dropped to the fourth is ridiculous. Like, that's just,
yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, I would have been okay. I had him as like a high second round grade, not just a second round grade, like a high second round grade, like the first 6 picks in the second round. So, I mean, it's wild to me. The other thing that I found interesting was that apparently T'Vondre Sweat wasn't punished at all for getting a DUI during the draft cycle. He went 38th overall, which is higher than anybody expected him to go in the first place. And then and the only thing that I can think about that is that he must have the best agent on the face of the planet. Actually, I'm not going to tell you, he has the best agent on the face of the planet. Him and oh my gosh, I'm pulling a blank on me. Hurts, the quarterback for Philadelphia.
Anyway,
yeah. So they have the same agent. They have the exact same agent. And so he like Hurts's agent straight up got him like this massive contract on 1 year production, right? And then turn around and then she gets T'Vondre Sweat drafted number 38 overall in the draft. And in the post-draft conference, the GM for the Titans named her specifically and thanked her for her assistance in vetting him during the draft process. She was on the phone with teams clearing the air, saying, no, my dude is good. My dude is good. She was also Terrion Arnold's agent and got him drafted super high.
Yeah, yes.
Right? And so I'm telling you right now, like we got a female Jerry Maguire in the house, and she is out there just like dominating the game right now. And I'm gonna and you give me your take on that, because I'm gonna look up her name while you're doing it, because we want to put her name on this because she is the best there is in the game right now.
Well, I was actually shocked when he was drafted that high, because I mean, I didn't see all of the scale of potential that he could have. And granted, having like that in your back pocket, kind of like your trump card, like, oh, I got you right here. If you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you're going to excel with this, especially if you have an agent that's going to have your back no matter what, the client's back. And knowing her doing this, there's going to be a lot more either rookies or people who are out there that are looking like, you know what, I might need to find a new agent. They're going to go for her, because no matter what, she's always going to put their client best forward. But my goodness, what an absolute talk job, I guess, between them and the owners to get him drafted that early. I think you muted Rocky.
I clicked it like 4 times. Like, this is professional podcasting at its best here, people.
Yes,
just
sir.
Sitting there trying to click the unmute button and just nothing, your computer not responding and nothing happening, and just dead air right on the podcast. I apologize, you guys. Yeah, no, I'll look it up as we go through this podcast here, And once I get her name, I'll let you know because she deserves all the stinking respect in the world from anybody's perspective, because she is like someone who just goes out there and gets top dollar, top pick, top everything for every single one of her players. And I think I might have just found it here. Her name is Nicole Lynn.
Nicole Lynn.
Yep,
Oh,
Nicole Lynn.
I need to call her up to be my agent. My goodness, Rocky.
She is.
I could have been the long snapper for the Chiefs if I had her as my agent. You know that?
Yeah, you would be the long snapper for the Chiefs. You would be like a at least 2-time, maybe a 3-time Super Bowl champion if you had Nicole Lynn as your agent. She is with Football Clutch Sports, and she is the president of that agency.
Hey, before we move on to like Chiefs stuff, let's hit the Falcons again. Like, what on earth are you doing with Michael Penix Jr. at 8? Like, what on earth? Like, I think that kind of right there solidified how the draft was going to go for the remainder of it. And luckily, I think the Chiefs benefited from Penix being drafted at 8.
I mean, the Chiefs definitely benefit from Penix being drafted at 8 because it pushed everybody else down the board, and then it forced Bo Nix to go early in the first round as well, and just kept on pushing guys down the board to where they had a plethora of people to choose from there at the end of the first round, and they got the guy that they wanted. Even more confusing than the Falcons taking him at 8 was that they took him at 8 after they gave Kirk Cousins a 4-year, $100 million guaranteed contract. And then they turned around and they didn't talk to Kirk Cousins before they drafted Michael Penix Jr. He had no idea that they were drafting Michael Penix Jr. He was surprised. They didn't even like call him like the day of, or even they're on the clock say, hey, just a heads up. They didn't even shoot him a text saying, hey, like we're going to be taking Michael Penix Jr. because we want a guy of the future, which we'll get to that in a second. They just drafted him while Kirk Cousins is sitting there at home thinking he's going to get like Rome Odunze. Like you're sitting at home thinking you're going to get Rome Odunze, and instead you get a size 12 right in the junk sack, just a kick right in the cojones from your own GM that you just signed. And then their explanation was they said, well, we don't know where we're going to be picking this high again. Well, maybe next year because you took a quarterback in the first round. Then you're not going to be successful. And when was the last time that the Falcons were in the playoffs in the first place? And on top of that, after Kirk Cousins' contract is in the 4 years, when his contract is up, Michael Penix Jr. is going to be 28 years old. He's going to be older than Patrick Mahomes was when he won the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. I don't know if you also heard the GM talk. He said, if we don't start Michael Penix Jr. at all in this 4 years, okay with it. Like, you literally just drafted a guy in the first round. Kind of like Jordan Love situation in Green Bay. Whenever he got drafted when Aaron Rodgers was there. Like this is a copy, paste, and repeat from that. It's
not. But it's not, because when you drafted Jordan Love, you didn't know how many more years you had with Aaron Rodgers.
Fair.
His contract was coming up, and then they ended up re-signing him. And on top of that, you drafted Jordan Love, with pick 30 or something like that in the draft?
Yeah.
Not 8. Not 8.
No.
Not when Rome Odunze is sitting there on the board begging to be picked. Like draft. Like I'm going to go full Allen Iverson here. Like 8? 8? We talking about 8, y'all. We talking about 8.
And you get a
not
quarterback.
30. Not 30. We talking about 8 for a quarterback. When you got a quarterback, you just paid $100 million to
Coach Haynes.
Not 30, y'all. Not 30. We talking about 8.
He's going to be 29 when he starts.
It makes zero GD sense to take Michael Penix Jr. in that position. And the thing is, here's the other crazy thing is, Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause in his contract. Like, you can't even move him if he doesn't want to move. Like, he just say, no, I'm going to hold a clipboard and pay me $100 million to hold a clipboard. Like,
just be thankful. Pay me. Just be thankful that Brett Veach is here. Just be thankful for that, because that and all that stupidity of doing that type of drafting will never happen. It will never happen.
Listen, I cannot agree with some of his picks now and again, but he will never ever go off the rails. He's always going to do what he thinks is best, and he's always going to have a logical, solid plan in place. And the man's won 3 Super Bowls, so he's earned the benefit of the doubt. You
And
know,
he made great
no
moves this
matter what.
draft in order to get the person that he wanted. It was fantastic.
Listen, that's the thing about it is he got the guy, he targeted the players he wanted, and he got the players he wanted. And let's actually just go ahead and hop into those really quick. Okay, so let's first round, Buffalo Bills. Like Buffalo Bills, thank you. I love you. Like the Buffalo Bills are the Kansas City Chiefs' best friends on draft night.
Yes, they are.
They just love us so much, and they like to be they're so kind, I guess, in North New York that they just want to help out everybody and just be kind and friendly to everybody because first they let us jump them or trade with us and let us jump in front of the Saints so we could draft Patrick Mahomes, back in the day, and then now they trade with us so that we can move up and get the wide receiver we wanted, which was Xavier Worthy in the first round. And we talked a little bit on draft night about how that wouldn't have been my first pick, but it doesn't matter if that was my first pick or not, because it's the person that the Chiefs identified that they wanted, that they needed to have to really to blow this offense wide open and take the top off of defenses once again to bring back the Legion of Zoom. And they had to have been like you got to think of like the owners' meetings, all the coaches got to get together and be like, all right, guys, last thing we can do is allow the Chiefs to be super, super explosive on offense. We already know their defense is dominant. Their defense kicked everybody's asses last year. We can't let the offense become explosive or else they're going to do this three-peat. What do? The whole league goes out and lowballs Hollywood Brown, and he walks into a 1-year, $6 million contract with the Chiefs. Crap. Okay, well, they just gave us one explosive wide receiver. Okay, nobody, whatever you do, don't let them become any more explosive. Buffalo Bills. Here you go, Chiefs. Here's Xavier Worthy on a platter for you. I mean, size is a concern, but on film, the 4.21 speed is real. Like he's not a guy who runs a 40-yard dash and you don't see it on the field. Like the 4.21 speed is real on tape with Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, I shook his hand the other day, and I think he has the great hands in order to, catch a football. And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs actually truly need on that offensive side. You know what, Rocky? I'm gonna peacock a little bit. I know last week, we released our first Veach season episode right here in our new home, and our new nest, our new lair, our new, evil empire. We'll find out on that in a second. But I said the Chiefs would, 1, trade up, check, and 2, select Xavier Worthy. They did the exact thing that I was talking. I'm assuming Brett Veach actually listened to what we were talking about before the draft actually happened, and we cashed. Everything's going to work out just fine because especially when you have Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, heck, Isaiah Pacheco. You have a 4-headed lethal. I can do whatever the heck I want if I'm Andy Reid on offense. I can draw up literally anything. Granted, there's trial by error, but they'll figure it out towards the end of the year when they're playing the Super Bowl that they will have everything fine-tuned and dandy when it gets to that time. This is absolutely going to be an explosive offense for once. Even it's funny me saying that for once because it was still explosive last year, even though when there were the big plays did happen, but it didn't happen at a lot.
Well, and then on top of that, we've been talking about these new kickoff rules right here on Veach season. And they said it right out the bat that they're going to utilize Xavier Worthy in the kickoff game. And we talked a little bit like all you got to do is get the first line defenders and you're gone with these new kickoff rules. And we talked about, okay, what do? Maybe if they kick it to the side away from him, then you catch the ball and you start to go up and then you just throw it back across field a la Travis Kelce to Kadarius Toney against the Bills like that. Only imagine that on a kickoff return across field and you have everybody cross blocking the other direction and he just hits the edge and goes and he's down the sideline. Like there's so many things that I think that they can do with these new kickoff rules where you don't got to break tackles. You don't dodge 100 guys. You got to be the first to the edge in some of these situations. And Xavier Worthy can get to the edge. On top of that, you watch Worthy's film, and he was utilized a lot in wide receiver screens and a lot in jet sweeps. We know the Chiefs love wide receiver screens and jet sweeps. We also know that they tried to run those a lot to Kadarius Toney last year to not great effect. Xavier Worthy almost 100%, I think, guarantees that Kadarius Toney doesn't make this 53-man roster.
I wouldn't say all that. I think they'll still have Kadarius Toney on the roster. I don't think he'll play much, kind of like how you saw his numbers decline last year. Because you just never know. You always want to over prepare for the upcoming season, and having Kadarius Toney on the team still, I think, is a benefit to have.
We're talking roster spots here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice is a lock. Hollywood Brown is a lock. Xavier Worthy is a lock. Justin Watson is a lock because he's your only big outside receiver currently on the roster.
That's fair.
So that's 4 right there. You have 2 more spots. So then you have Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney,
Yes.
Nico Remigio, who they liked enough to keep around after he got a severe season-ending injury, Justin Ross, Powell, and then they're probably going to bring in a veteran at some point, right? And I'm not saying from a talent perspective is Kadarius Toney not better than any of those guys, but from a player makeup perspective, you already have multiple people on this team who do the exact same thing that Kadarius Toney does.
I guess better. But I think you named 4 guys on there that I don't think would like. Kadarius Toney's clearly better than it.
Is he?
I think so. I believe so. He's showing what he can do on the field at the right time. Granted, he had a couple of bad mistakes last year, but just only a couple.
We're not talking about talent. We're not talking about talent. We're talking about playing football in the game. We're talking about practice habits.
At best availability is availability. So
yeah, we're talking that the Chiefs essentially shut him down last year and just said, we don't trust you.
That's true. They did, but they also don't. I mean, I don't see if that's the case. Then Sky Moore's not on this team either. I'm curious to see. I'm curious.
I agree. Curious. I agree. I don't think Sky Moore's on this team either, to be honest.
I mean, the guys that you mentioned, Justin Watson, the guys after that, I could see them not being on this team whatsoever either.
Oh, 100%. It's all going to be a camp battle. And right now, they're both under contract, and you don't save any money by cutting them in the offseason. So unless they do something stupid to the point where you don't want them on the team anymore, and then you can recoup that money with cause for actions detrimental to the program. They're going to be there, and they're going to have a chance to battle for their position in camp like they should. And you know what? Kadarius Toney might go out and win a spot. He might do something amazing. Yeah. My only concerns are you see Patrick Mahomes thrown in the offseason to all these receivers. You see Reese Zammit there. You see Noah Gray. You see Powell. You see Nico Remigio. You see Sky Moore. You see everybody in the world down in Texas catching passes from Patrick Mahomes in the offseason, except for one player.
That shows a lot. That does. It does. It shows a lot.
Yeah, it shows a lot. So anyway, Xavier Worthy, though, going to be an explosive player in this offense. Great pick. I've come around on it. He's a Kansas City Chief. Now, whether or not I wanted Xavier Legette or another wide receiver at that point, I've come around on Xavier Worthy. He's not. One thing we didn't talk about is that great character guy.
Yes.
Awesome character. No concerns there. Never a concern off the field with him. Just a solid dude through and through. So that's something that we know that's something the Chiefs are looking at.
You got a good one
in this draft. Yeah, we got a good one. Okay, round 2. Maybe the pick that everybody at Arrowhead Pride was probably the most excited about was the Chiefs selected left tackle of the future, BYU star, cousin of Lions left tackle, and probably the best left tackle in the NFL, Penei Sewell. They drafted very young, very, very young. Same with Xavier Worthy, very young player, just turned 21. Xavier Worthy did, but they drafted Kingsley Suamataia. Kingsley Suamataia.
You got it.
Yeah, Suamataia in the second round with the 64th overall pick. I mean, 6'4", 34 and 3/8-inch arms, almost 10-inch hands. Guy moves like a tight end, agile. A little bit of issue with balance, a little bit of issue with hand placement, getting over leverage, positioning, that sort of thing. Not everything that's fixable. Everything that's wrong with him is fixable. It's all just development and coaching and experience and reps. And he has the most upside of any offensive lineman the Chiefs have taken in the Patrick Mahomes era.
Which is a good sign because I love the fact he's going to go into a position battle with Wanya Morris. And there could be a chance that Sumatia might beat him out in that because who knows how the trial by air when it comes to the training camp of seeing Wanya Morris do the right things or the wrong things, and also him actually being healthy to actually be going through all of the types of trainings that they do at training camp. And I like this. I mean, Sumatia, it clearly isn't like your day one starter as of right now. I wouldn't solidify him there, but there's no reason for him not to start later on in the season. Like, he's going to be absolutely great when he's learning, growing, and you have him for the next 4 years here in Kansas City, which is obviously a great thing. Mold him to the tackle you want him to be because he's going to be great at doing that.
110%. He's going to be the tackle of the future. He's going to eventually be the starter. And whether or not he's the starter out of the gate, nobody knows. But he's going to battle for it. I think that the Chiefs want him to beat out Wanya Morris. I think that's their best case scenario in their minds. They're not sold on Wanya. Otherwise, they wouldn't have drafted Suamatia, right? You don't draft Suamatia if you think that you want Wanya to battle and then win and become the left tackle of the future.
Exactly.
If you think that he's left tackle of the future, you don't take a second round pick on that guy, on a guy like that whose upside is like that high, who you project to be like a starting left tackle for 10 years in the league. So with that, there is a chance that Suamatia ends up being the day one starter if Wanya can't. If Wanya has to go out there and win the position. Like whoever, it's one of the two of them have to go out and win the position. The other one's going to be a swing tackle for us, which got to have a good swing tackle as well.
Not a bad gig at all.
Not a bad gig in the NFL. You can make a very nice living being a swing tackle in the NFL. And there's a lot of teams that are going to pay you pretty handsomely to be a swing tackle. And eventually you're probably going to get a starting job somewhere along the line. Like we've seen numerous guys from the Chiefs, like our boy Nick Allegretti. You know, he just left and got a starting job. He was our swing tackle or just our fill-in offensive lineman anywhere along the line there for a few years. But yeah, so I mean, but Suamatia, he's got a great head on his shoulders. Everybody plays up the BYU connection, and I tell you what, I've always said I thought it was crap because the Chiefs don't really draft guys from BYU. And then Brett Veach comes out on his video on Twitter and is like, "Oh man, Reed was really sweating at the last 10 picks because he didn't think that you're going to fall to us. And the only thing that's more important to him than getting a lineman is getting a BYU guy." And I'm like, GD Veach, like, just
you're tipping your hand there, Veach.
You're tipping your hand, but also, like, come on, man. Like, we named the show after you. Don't make me look that stupid on air. Like, bro, Veach, I know you listened to the show. You drafted Xavier Worthy. We talked about Kingsley Suamatia, and then you drafted Jared Wiley, who's been my tight end 3 this entire draft. Like, Veach, we know you listen to us. Do us a solid, bro.
That Jared Wiley pick, dude, that's not bad. For in the 4th round too. Like, I thought he'd be a lot sooner. Like, if I'm being honest. But the thing is he going to get some playing time? I know there's Irv Smith, Noah Gray. Does he take more of Noah Gray's type of? I mean, I wouldn't say Wiley's a pass blocking tight end at all. He's a guy that's like you want to kind of mold in Travis Kelce. That I'll say it. I'll say it right then and there. Like, he's dual threat to where you could have him run out in the little slot if you want him to, or line up at tight end. Like, it's a very good pick in the 4th round.
So on Twitter, after the Chiefs drafted him, I put up their RAS, like Travis Kelce and Jared Wiley's RAS, their relative athletic scores done by Kinley Platt at MathBomb on Twitter. Great work. And I put up their RAS scores side by side. Jared Wiley and Travis Kelce, height, weight, speed, almost every single metric is within 0.1 of each other. Their weight is within like 6 pounds. Their height is within like half an inch. Like their hands are almost the same size. I think that their 40 was like 0.02 seconds different.
That's ridiculous. That's so
Like
close
like
to everything.
it's so close. And their overall RAS score was 0.01 difference on their overall RAS score with each other. Now, Jared Wiley is not Travis Kelce. It's not
No,
fair
no, no.
to compare Jared Wiley to the greatest tight end of all time. And it's disrespectful to Travis Kelce to say that this rookie who hasn't done anything in the league is the next Travis Kelce. There is no other Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end who's ever played the game. That being said, when Travis Kelce was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce was not Travis Kelce, the greatest tight end of all time. He was an athletic tight end with upside, and through hard work, dedication, determination, some stupid mistakes on and off the field,
Yeah.
growing up really fast, just he turned into the future Hall of Famer that he is today. Jared Wiley has an opportunity to learn from him and to
Oh,
get
that's
started
perfect.
down that road. And I have a feeling that he's going to be in Kelsey's ear. And Kelsey loves being a teacher. He started the whole tight end academy with George Kittle and George Kittle's dad for the very purpose of wanting to teach younger tight ends. He talks about it on the New Heights podcast all the time about how he loves teaching the guys in the tight end room. And so it's the perfect setup. And this, unfortunately for Chiefs fans, I think signals the Chiefs' acknowledgement that the end for Kelsey is here sooner rather than later. And they need to start planning for the future. That doesn't mean that Jared Wiley is going to be Travis Kelce's placement. You don't replace Travis Kelce. And when they do try to replace Travis Kelce, it may look like a guy like Rashee Rice, because Travis Kelce is such a unique talent as a tight end. It's going to be hard to replace him with another tight end. All that being said, this is a signal that the Chiefs are acknowledging that maybe Kelce's end is closer than anybody wants to admit.
And it's good for the fact that the Chiefs went all in for this draft then to try to get that three-peat to happen. Because I wouldn't be shocked if, say, if they do the three-peat happens, that's the sunset retirement right there. I can just see it right now. They'll go off in like your, I guess, convertible or whatever you want to drive. Maybe it's a big Escalade. Maybe it's the Tesla truck, or maybe it's something different. You and Taylor Swift riding off to the sunset,
I wouldn't be shocked
perfect together.
if win or lose, that's what happens, because I think he's playing for the three-peat. Maybe I don't want to make any definite he's doing this because I don't know him. I haven't talked to him, and I don't want to look like a dummy if he ends up playing for 3 more years, right? I'm not making any definite statements here. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this season, win or lose, that he was playing for the three-peat. If they get it, he retires. If they don't get it, he's like, oh, well, we did our best shot. Maybe he's mad that they lost the Super Bowl or something like that, or they underperformed, and he wants to try to come back one more year to win a Super Bowl to go out on a high streak. I don't know his mindset, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility that maybe he's only playing for the three-peat, and win or lose, this is it.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, moving on. Next guy, Jaden Hicks. Love me. So Jaden Hicks, the Chiefs selected in the 4th round as well. So let's just go down really quick before we go any further. Yep, they took Xavier Worthy, pick number 28. They traded up with the Buffalo Bills. They traded up and select Xavier Worthy. Then they traded up in round 2 from number 64 to number 63, just like Kingsley Suamatia. Then round 4, they took Jared Wiley and pick 131, which they had gotten as part of the trade compensation for the Xavier Worthy pick. They gave them pick 95, and then in turn slid back. Or sorry, 131 was their original pick. 133, the Jaden Hicks pick, is the one they got back for the Xavier Worthy trade. So then with round 4, with pick 133, they selected Jaden Hicks out of Washington State. Chiefs love their safeties.
Especially around this time of the draft, too.
Yeah. And L'Jarius Sneed was a converted safety as well. This guy, Hicks, is a physical player, but his main calling card is that he is awesome in coverage. He can play in the slot. He's sticky, he's aggressive, he jumps routes, he reads quarterbacks' eyes, he'll play shade off and then jump in, and he's a ball hawk. Like, the guy is just he's a defensive back more than he is a safety in my eyes. And that's the type of player that the Chiefs love. I think that he was a steal at 133. This is a very weak safety class, and he is one of the few bright spots. You know, him, Tyler Nubin, Cooper DeJean, if you consider Cooper DeJean or DeJean a safety. And then Taylor Demerson out of Texas Tech. Those are about, maybe Malik Mustafa as well. That's about it for the safeties in this class that are worth taking a look at. And Jaden Hicks is one of the best out of that group.
I think Jaden Hicks was on the target of a guy like Dave Tobe, because I think you're going to see him a lot on the special teams, I believe, this first year. And I think it's also going to show that, all right, if I can kill it out here in special teams, there's no reason for why I can't someday jump Shamari Carter, jump a Byron Cook, or even a Justin Reed at some point. Man, I know that's a lot to ask there for, but there's no reason for him not to go out there and start shining and being a thumper out there on special teams, and that's just going to give you more credibility here at the Chiefs.
Well, and let's also not act like Brian Cook is coming back from a very serious injury. We don't know where he's at in his rehab. We assume he's going to be ready for the start of the season. We don't know that. And then also on top of that, you know, the Chiefs had Mike Edwards, who played significant snaps for them at safety last year, because the Chiefs play a lot of 3 safety looks also. Mm-hmm. And so right now they got Justin Reed, Brian Cook, and Shamari Connor on the roster. You play those 3 safety looks, that's fine. But if somebody goes down, your 3 safety looks are out the window, right? So regardless, I think that Jaden Hicks, yes, is going to be a day one impact player on special teams. But I think he's going to see the field this year.
He'll get his looks. Well. He'll get his looks. Yeah, looks. Definitely.
And he's going to have the opportunity, just like Shamari Connor did, to play his way into the rotation of being on the field. Like Shamari Connor made it to where the Chiefs couldn't keep him off the field because he played his way. He made it impossible to keep him on the bench with his play. I think that Jaden Hicks has an opportunity to do the same thing, and I think that he will do the same thing. I think that you're going to find yourself by week 12, like, seeing him play, I don't know, 15, 20 snaps, something like that a game. You know, he's not going to be playing every down, but he's going to come in and passing downs and 3, and maybe they'll blitz him occasionally, maybe bring him in and run defense, depending upon how he plays. Like, there's going to be situational plays where they're going to have him in the game, and they're going to count on him to make plays.
Oh, he'll step up too. Like, this is a great safe pick at round 4. Yeah, round 4.
This whole draft, the whole MO of this draft was guys who are safe contributors, I think, and then Kingsley Suamatia with huge upside.
Well, like the safe contributors with the round 5 pick, like with Norzad. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I think it's Hunter Norzad.
Norzad, yeah. No, this is one of the best, safest picks, I think, that's all in this draft. I get it, he's a center, but this is a guy that's played guard. He could be your rotational guard. If something happens to Creed, he could put him at center. I think this was like the out of all the steals in the draft, I think he's going to have more impact with the Chiefs, and I like it. I like this one a lot.
Oh man, I mean, I think that Norzad originally started, played Ivy League ball before he went to Penn State. He's very versatile along the line. He can play center a little bit. He can play guard. I mean, he's a guy who he's super solid. Great hand placement, good footwork. He's not a guy who's going to make stupid mistakes. He's like he's a solid offensive lineman. And that's what you want in round 5. Like, what do you like? What else do you want out of round 5 except for a guy who's going to be able to, like if a guy goes down, he's a Nick Allegretti.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Solid dude who you can count on to come in and get the job done. Now, that being said, we don't know if he's as tough SOB like Nick Allegretti. He is playing with a blown out elbow the entire Super Bowl, and freaking needs Tommy John surgery in the offseason because he blows out his elbow in the Super Bowl, doesn't miss a snap. Instead, Travis Kelce says he's on the sideline just saying, I need a effing elbow brace. Somebody give me an effing elbow brace so I can get out on the field. He didn't even tell his teammates that he was injured. Like they just saw him put on an elbow brace, and then they said that he could tell that he was hurt a little bit because he was grunting when he was blocking. Like,
That's wild,
come
man.
on.
That's dog mentality right there.
That's dog mentality, which is why when he left to get a starting job, I was like, you know what? You already deserve a
Yes, you do.
statue in front of Arrowhead because you saved the freaking Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so in my mind, this last Super Bowl against San Francisco 49ers was won 100% in my mind because of Nick Allegretti's pure dogness. And so maybe from a talent level, Hunter Norzad is out Nick Allegretti. We don't know if he's a dog though, like Nick Allegretti, because Nick Allegretti's that dog.
You got to earn your stripes here.
You got to earn your bark there, pup. So I hope that Norzad comes in and earns his bark. But you know what? You hear him, you hear his interviews, and you hear him talk after he was drafted, and you think this is a guy who might have a little bit of a dog in him. Not as much of a dog in him as the next guy we're going to talk about, though.
Yeah,
Jamal Haddon. Woo. Another defensive back. Dude's got some nastiness in him. Kind of went a roundabout way to get to where he was at Tennessee. Originally played at Independence Community College here in Kansas City. Isn't that Last Chance U? Right? I think it was affiliated with Last Chance U.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, Kamal Haddon started at Independence Community College here in Kansas City, and then eventually after that, played 1 year there, and then was going to transfer to Auburn. Before he ever actually played, he rescinded his commitment and then re-entered the transfer portal. Had to wait like another year, and then ended up in Tennessee. Battled injuries, but when he's on the field, you see why he's battling injuries because the guy is aggressive.
He's a thumper.
Yeah. He's a thumper. He's long, strong, and down to get the friction on in the secondary. And he's not afraid to run defense to step up. He'll hit guys when they catch the ball. He plays good coverage. He'll jam guys. I think that kind of like with Travis Kelce, you're not going to replace L'Jarius Sneed, but the Chiefs went out and got two defensive backs in this draft who definitely have the same play makeup that they see on Sneed's tape, and it's up to them to see if they are the dog that they need to be in order to earn their bark, there in the secondary. But I'm a big fan of Kamal Haddon's tape out of Tennessee. They took him in round 6 with pick number 211. Thanks to the San Francisco 49ers, who also backing back up to Kingsley Suamataia, the 49ers let the Chiefs move up to select Suamataia. So every team that the Chiefs keep on just crushing their Super Bowl dreams just gave the Chiefs the players they wanted in this draft.
Is that like an undisclosed thing they signed before games? Like, you know what, if you beat us like in the playoffs, we'll help you out in the draft. Like that it's just our thanks, I guess, or our due diligence.
It was like under the table side bet between the GMs, like you hear like before the game, like the other teams like mayors would be like, oh well, we bet you some San Francisco computer chips to your Kansas City barbecue ribs that that we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and the GMs are like, yo,
draft picks.
If I beat you, you gotta let me move up in the second round
when I
get
need
my
to.
guy. Yeah, when I need to. I don't know when or not even like second round. Yo, I'm gonna have to move up in this draft, and I'm gonna call you. You better pick up if I win, you got to pick up the phone. And as long as it matches up on the Rich Hill trade chart, you got to say yes. That's the deal. If you beat me, same deal. And then they like shake hands under the table. Next thing you know, we got Kingsley Suamataia.
Then you get Hayden. Like then
you get Hayden.
Big thumper. He doesn't care who has the football. He's going to go out there and he will tackle. I mean, granted, you're not supposed to go head on, but I think he would go head first no matter what, of how much of a nastiness, the grit, the playing style that he has. He has no care in the world what his body is. He just wants to win football games. And that's one thing that you cannot teach a person, is to just throw yourself at somebody in order to get to the goal that you're trying to do. He'll do it every single time and then some. And that's just what type of player he is. And I don't think that I have problems and struggles with him is the injury aspect, it's there. He has a past for it. Can he stay out healthy for, I don't know, 10, 12 games? That's all I'm asking him for whenever he possibly gets to a starting role. Then again, he has to get to that starting role first in order for those reps to get going and a lot more. But I think he can get 12 game starts a year. That's awesome.
I agree. The injury concern is there, but two things I want to close on for Kamal Haddon, two things to close on for Kamal Haddon. First one is last year, the quarterback doing his quarterback rating was that he gave up against opposing quarterbacks in the games he played.
I have no idea.
Just take a guess. If you were a cornerback covering defenders and you think, oh man, this guy killed it.
I would say
what would the opposing team's quarterback's QBR be?
75.
Sure. Divide that by 10. 7.
My
7.
wow.
He held opposing quarterbacks when he was targeted to a 7 quarterback rating, according to PFF. 12 receptions on 33 targets for 96 yards total.
That's wild. What a steal.
Yeah.
What a steal.
What a steal. That, and second point, when the Chiefs drafted him and Brett Veach made the call, you can see it, go on Twitter, you can watch the video. It's awesome. The dude is losing his mind with excitement that he's going to play for the Chiefs and he's going to be a professional football player. And he's just telling Veach, you did not make a mistake drafting me. I will prove that this was not a mistake. This was not a mistake. I swear to you, got the best one. Like, you got the best one. Like you did not make a mistake, right? Like, he just he is just like, he's like almost in tears. You can hear it. Like, the dude is awesome. So Kamal Haddon, you are a Kansas City Chief. Go out there and earn your bark, boy. All right. And then round 7, pick number 248, closing out the draft. Chiefs go back and get a little bit more beef. Another guy who go online and listen to his video of Brett Veach calling him, and he's crying over the phone as well with Brett Veach, just saying, thank you. I promise I'm not going to let you down. Like these guys are like, these last 2 picks, like these guys were like about ready to run through a brick wall that they were selected to play for the Chiefs. And they were just like, I promise you that you made the right decision with me. And so
I love that from the late round picks guys, because those are the guys that are kind of like giving up hope of like, I'm not getting a phone call. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I think I played my last football game. Now I get to worry about either playing the UFL or what other type of independent startup leagues there are. I love the desire, the passion for these guys that come and get that phone call, because they're going to give it their all no matter what. And I'm curious to see if CJ Hansen makes a roster spot. I'm curious to see if they have him on the practice squad, or even if he has a backup role here on the line. Like, I'm curious to see what his career takes him.
So CJ Hansen killed it at the combine, from like an athletic testing numbers. He's not overly strong. He needs to get stronger. He needs to add on a little bit of beef and girth. He needs to get in the weight room. But he's fast for a lineman. He's agile for a lineman. He's aggressive. He hits hard. He just has some problems anchoring because of his strength a little bit against interior pass rushers. So he needs to get a little bit stronger. But I mean, pick 248 out of Holy Cross, a small school guy. You assume that this guy is a work in progress. He's not a guarantee to make the roster, obviously, but he's the type of guy who's going to come in and battle for a roster spot, and at the very worst, give you some depth. And maybe he ends up on the practice squad this year, but maybe give him 2 years and maybe he may be a backup for you. And guess what? Like the Chiefs fans, as Chiefs fans, we are spoiled with how good of a drafter Brett Veach is, that we expect all 7 of these guys to make the roster and be contributors, because that's what's happened recently when you get late round guys like Trey Smith who slide, or you find a diamond in the rough like Isaiah Pacheco. But these guys, on most teams, these guys don't make the roster. These guys don't pan out to anything on most teams. And Chiefs expect these guys to be like stud contributors right out of the bat.
Well, you could thank Brett Veach for that, because of how well he's drafted within the past few years of players that have came up there and stepped up. Just look at this past year's draft. Like, there was how many starters were rookies? Like, come on now.
I agree. And the thing is, there's no cap. There's no salary cap on coaching staff. And Andy Heck is a heck of an offensive line coach. Andy Reid is a heck of a coach. Dave Merritt, we don't know what Dave Merritt makes, but Dave Merritt's the best defensive back coach in the NFL, and he's not leaving to be a defensive coordinator anywhere. So I assume that he's being compensated pretty handsomely as a position coach. And so I think that the Chiefs just have an amazing coaching staff. And so they go out there, and what they do is they find guys who have some upside and who are hard workers. And they say, okay, listen, so me and the Draft Network's Damian Parson, one of my favorite draft analysts in the world, we were tweeting back and forth the other day, and I said this on our last draft recap, draft live cast. We were talking. He was like, "Listen, talent gets you in the league. Hard work keeps you there, right?" And that's 100%. Like Kadarius Toney, that's my problem with Kadarius Toney. I don't know his work ethic. I don't see him practice, but I imagine that since he stayed capped out and he hasn't ever actually gotten that much better, and he's not on any photo with Patrick Mahomes in the offseason running routes and improving his craft. Tyreek Hill at one point was just a kick returner. And Tyreek Hill works meticulously on his routes every single offseason. There's a video online right now of him and McCole Hardman running routes together. I mean, and McCole Hardman's trying to get better because he's working with Tyreek Hill, and I applaud him for that. But you watch the attention to detail that Tyreek Hill puts into his practicing and his route running, and you see why he is one of the greatest route runners in the history of football. And that's just a fact. It's not just speed with Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of fast guys. Tyreek Hill is a meticulous route runner, and it's because of his hard work. So I think the Chiefs just try to find guys that they know are going to put in work in the offseason and are going to meticulously work at their craft to get better, and then they're going to trust their coaches to coach them up.
How would you grade this year's draft? I'm curious.
A. I'll go ahead. Let's go pick by pick really quick.
Oh yeah,
before
yeah.
we hit some UDFs and get out, and let's give our grades really quick. Okay, so with Xavier Worthy, what do you give that?
That's an A. I called it. I called it A.
I'm giving it a B plus, but considering where I've been on Xavier Worthy all off season, coming up to a B plus on Xavier Worthy is pretty good.
That's true, because you were down on him a lot. Like you just he's just quick. That's all he is. He's just quick.
Listen, I'm coming around on him.
Can't run routes. He's just quick.
It's more that I don't think that the Chiefs need to give up the compensation that they needed to give up to get him, and that not having that pick 95 hurt them on day 2. That's the reason why I didn't give it an A. It's not the player, it's the compensation that was given up. Yeah, they got some day 3 picks back, but if you think about who was on the board at 95, if you were able to get up, if Worthy or Adonai Mitchell, whoever you wanted to end up getting, I know they had their heart set on Worthy and they got their guy and they went and got their guy. So I have no problem with that. That's why it's a B plus. But if Worthy would have been there at 32 and you would have had that pick 95, that pick 95 was so crucial. You could have got such a stud there at pick 95 to add to this draft class.
I respect that.
So B plus on Xavier Worthy. All right, let's go to the next one here. Pick number 2, Kingsley Suamataia.
I'll give it a B plus on this one. I wouldn't give it a full A, but I like B plus for this because you needed this.
Pick and value and need and age and everything combined. This is an A plus pick for me.
Okay.
I give Kingsley an A plus. Is he ready to go day 1? No. Are you going to get a day 1 stud, all pro level left tackle on day 2 in this draft? No. For the draft class and who was available and who was going to be available, getting him at that point was an A plus pick for me. So I think it's A plus. Jared Wiley, what do you give that one?
I'll give it a B, a flat B. Because I feel like you don't really need a tight end right now. I would have liked to see them try to go linebacker here because you needed some address some needs.
Just drinking some haterade over here.
I'm just being how my heart feels. Like that's just I think it was yeah.
And people say that I'm the negative one. I get this rap of being I get the rap of being the negative one, and I'm over here giving Jared Wiley pick an A. I give this one an A. I think he's awesome. He was my tight end 3. I think that he's a weapon in the offense. He had more receiving touchdowns than any other tight end in Division One last year. Like the guy is an absolute stud.
Yeah, but he's
This is
also has Travis Kelce in front of him. When is he going to get playing time? I know it's not this year; it's going to be the next. But once I'll change my grade on him once it hits
how
year 2.
many 2 and 3 tight end sets do the Chiefs run? They run so many 2 tight end sets. You don't think they're not going to put Travis Kelce and him on the field at the same time?
Well, at some
Good
point they
night.
will. At some
Good
point.
luck covering the underneath zones on that. Like, do you do 2 shallow crosses with them crossing over? What are you going to do with your linebackers there?
Sounds like the Raiders' offense.
Well, it sounds like the Raiders have been paying attention to Andy Reid. Anything that the Raiders do on offense, Andy Reid did first.
Probably.
Like anything that any offensive coach currently coaching in the NFL does, Andy Reid has done it at some point in his career because he's been coaching for so long and he's such an innovator that I don't think there's like even the Shanahan McVay model of guys that everybody is goo goo gaga for and they just think that they're the greatest offensive innovators in the world. All those guys learn from guys who Andy Reid learned from.
He's been there for so long, so it makes sense.
Andy Reid came up under Bill Walsh, and Bill Walsh basically taught every single offensive mind in the NFL at some level. So, Jaden Hicks, what do you give that one?
I'd just give it a flat B as well with this one. They addressed the position of need, and he's going to help this team out.
I give Jaden Hicks a B+. So we're about the same there. I think position of need, he's a great player. Good value at the position. For the position group, he's one of the best players there was. All right, Hunter Norzai, what do you give him?
I like this as an A- for the position of need because you need to have some more help around the line. And the fact that he's so versatile, that's the reason. And in the 5th round, too, you can't ask for a better guy in the 5th.
I give it a B+. For all the same reasons you just said. Just give it slightly less. I think that in round 5, there was some other skill position players there that I might have taken, even though offensive line is a huge need. I really wanted them to double dip at wide receiver in this draft, and they didn't. And so,
and they got tied in. Don't worry about double dipping because he could play wide receiver too if you wanted him to.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's what they were thinking. So I give it a B+. Round 6, Kamal Haddon, cornerback, Tennessee. What'd you give him?
A high B+, maybe like an 89%. I just like his nastiness. Like it's this late too. You can't teach it, so I love it.
I gave him an A. I would have given him an A+, but the injury history, I brought it back down to an A. But I think that for a 6th round, I think that Haddon is around a 4th round talent, 3rd, 4th round talent. And the fact that you got him in the 6th, I mean, that's a home run pick in my books. Okay, and the last one is CJ Hansen out of Holy Cross.
I'd say I think C+. They could have done something different here, maybe another skillful position. You already drafted a guard earlier in the draft. Do you really need to draft another one? But I'll go C+.
I gave it a B because I do like the athleticism. I like the technique and like just the overall skill profile. But I don't like the strength profile on him. And whereas I wanted them to take a skill position player earlier in round 5, by the time it's round 7, I'm just like, take whatever you think is best for the team at that point, and I'll trust you. So I gave it a B. There you have it. So overall grade, what's your overall grade on the draft? I said an A, and you said what?
I'm gonna say a B plus range, like so close being to B plus but a B.
Let it be known that Kramer Sansone is the negative one of the two of us, and that I am the positive one. I gave it the Chiefs an A for this draft, and Kramer, the Raiders fan, the hater, the negative one, gave this team a B. Oh my gosh. The less than stellar grade of a B, like the so grade of a B.
Close to being B plus. Close to being B.
Let him know how you feel about him saying the Chiefs are mediocre.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I can't wait to eat my L like you ate your L this week.
I ate a lot of L's this week. I always eat L's, man. Okay, so let's go over a couple of UDFAs real quick and get out of here. The Chiefs are in UDFA season, undrafted free agents. Those of you who don't know, after the draft. Anybody who didn't get drafted, who was declared for the draft, can basically sign with any team they want. And it's like a feeding frenzy of you just throwing like a handful of dog food into like a pond full of minnows with the with the teams after the draft, because they start just lining up trying to get every single guy that they can get their hands on. So one guy that I really like that the Chiefs got was Curtis Jacobs, linebacker out of Penn State. I know you were a big fan of him as well. Kramer, what'd you like about Jacobs?
Size. He's able to get the quarterback. He's able to also, if he wants to drop back into coverage every once in a while, don't do it too much. But man, this is a guy that can actually do a lot for you. He did a lot for Penn State. I watched him a lot whenever they played Michigan. That's the only time I really watched him was when he played against Michigan. And I liked him a lot. I'm actually very shocked he wasn't drafted. This is like, say if they would have had him drafted in the 7th round, I would absolutely have loved it. I think he makes the team, and I think he does at some point leave his footprint here on the Chiefs Nation. Chiefs Kingdom, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, with these UDFAs, you always have like one or two that end up being in competition to make the roster. Sometimes none of them make the roster, but usually one or two that make the roster. Not all these guys who make the roster. A lot of these guys are just being brought in for camp bodies. That being said, I like Curtis Jacobs a lot. He's very athletic. He moves well at the position. He's smart. He's a downhill player.
And they have Holden on the linebacker side of things.
Yeah, they lost Willie Gay in the offseason. They brought back Drew Tranquil, but they do have a need for another linebacker, so there is a spot for him to come in and play. Another guy is Amani Bailey, running back TCU. Dude was not fast at the combine. I think he ran like a 4.72 or 4.8, something like that. Like the dude didn't run well at the combine for his size at all. But he had 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns and averaged 5.4 yards a carry for TCU last year in the Big 12. So the Chiefs do have an opening at running back. So there's a chance that he could come in. He's going to have to come in and beat out guys like Deneric Prince, another guy who's UDFA who didn't make the roster out of camp last year. But they also brought in another running back, Carson Steele, out of UCLA, more of a big bruising power back, a guy who can move the pile, pick up those short yardage plays. That's something that we know the Chiefs have struggled with in recent years, is picking up short yardage and just running between the tackles and just picking up that 3rd and 1. Carson Steele is that guy who's going to do that on a consistent basis. Our own Jared Sapp over at Arrowhead Pride saw him in person, said he's just huge. He's just like massively jacked and just yoked. What do you think about those two running backs? Either one of those stick out to you?
Carson Steele does. I actually thought if there was a chance the Chiefs would have drafted a running back, it would be him. And he's super athletic. He's super yoked. He can do what you need him to do. If you want him to get 1 yard, he'll get you 2. So that's just what you need in a running back. And yeah, what a stud.
Going over this list, we're not going to go over the whole thing. It's just too many guys. We can break them down another time. But any of these other guys that stand out to you? There's a guy sort of like Miles Battle, cornerback out of Utah. I think he's a little bit interesting. Anybody else that you see on here that you like?
The tackle that they brought in that's like 6'8", his name is escaped me, and I cannot find him on my list now. Why can't I find
Ethan Driscoll?
Yes. They wanted I feel like if you want a project tackle that you want to work with that has extremely raw talent that we've done and we've kept on saying, yeah, very raw, very raw. These guys are very raw. That's your prototype you want to see if you can develop a tackle with that size and build. He has slower hands as his hips kind of have like solid feet. But that's a good, I think, project the Chiefs have with him. I liked him.
I don't hate Ethan Driscoll by any means. I think that, UDFA, like, go out and get the big, long, strong guy and see what you can do with him. He looks good getting off the bus, so that's important. He's got 35 and 3/8 inch arms, and his hands are 10.5 inches. Like, the guy is just like He's 6'8", like you said, 313. He looks like a Russian mobster. I don't know his family's history or background, but like if you wanted to put like a Russian mobster in who's like a big guy who's gonna try to beat up John Wick in a movie, like you might cast Ethan Driscoll to play that part. Like the guy just looks like like the big guy who fights against the hero in a movie. And if you're gonna have a guy out on the field fighting to keep Patrick Mahomes safe, might as well have it be the meanest looking dude that you're gonna see. So
Amen
I
to
like
that.
this one a lot. I'm a big fan of Ethan Driscoll. I'm pulling for you, big guy. Go out there and earn your bark, since that's our new thing. we've just earned this shtick. Go out and earn your bark, big dog. Come on, pup. But yeah, you can go on Arrowhead Pride and see the list of all the undrafted free agents. We're gonna be updating it over there as they're updated. They did bring in a punter, I guess, to give Punt God some competition. Ryan Cow out of BYU, another BYU guy. And they also brought in a kicker. They brought in a kicker.
What's
Does
this mean?
buckkicker.com? No, that buckkicker.com is as safe as anybody. This guy's name is Noah Rauschenberg from North Texas. He
The
made
mean green.
16 out of 19 field goal attempts in 20. This guy's not beating out Harrison Butker. He's a camp body. And Spencer Sanders, quarterback from Ole Miss, who is obviously their backup because that is not who their starting quarterback was this year. And then Nick Torres, offensive tackle out of Villanova. 320 pounds. I mean, there you go. Just get some big guys, get them in there. See what we got. Try to develop them. Anything else before we get out of here, Crane? We said we were going to try to keep this to 45 minutes before we started, and we're sitting here at an hour and 11 minutes, which is per the usual over here on Beach Season, where we get going and chatting, big guy, and I just love you so much. I just can't stop talking. I don't know how to quit you, Crane.
I don't know how to quit you either, Rocky.
I don't think I want to quit you.
Oh, no, never.
You're a treasure in my life, and I just want to continue to hold you close to me, big boy.
I just hate
have you as my dude.
I just hate how the draft season's over with now. Like the draft is over. Now we're turning the page on to basically the next upcoming season, which is I'm excited for it. Like I know we have time until everybody trains for mandatory mini camp or however you want to get to it, to your OTAs. Yeah, it's going to be a quick off season, and before you know it, they're going to be in St. Joe.
I picked up my phone this morning and I went to go open up the mock draft simulator, and I stopped myself. And inside of me, I felt like that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air gif where he's just looking around at the empty room and there's just nothing there anymore. And I was like, and I told my wife I wouldn't start watching film for next season until June. So
that's great.
I'm starting summer scouting in June. So for May and the rest of this month, I guess I'm just going to be a family man.
It's about time,
I'm not
Rocky.
writing articles. I'm going to pay attention to my wife and kids and be as good of a husband and father as I possibly can be. But we're still going to find a way for me and you to be doing this. And so, because like I said, I can't quit you. So we're still going to be doing this throughout the summer.
Yes, we are.
Finding something to talk about. It may end up just being all WWE and TMZ talk, but
as long as it's Chiefs related, baby, we got this.
Yeah, as long as it's Chiefs related, we're golden. Chiefs related, Halle Berry related, something.
Because I'm curious. I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting to see Travis Kelce in the ring tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. I'm expecting that, predicting it. When this comes out and that doesn't happen, don't blame me. But I think it could happen.
Yeah, what would be awesome is if somebody talked smack against Taylor Swift in the ring, and then Travis Kelce came in out of the stands.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Confronted them for talking, like a la Will Smith, and just open hand slap somebody in the ring. That would be brilliant.
I'd love that. Let's hope that happens tomorrow night.
Well, if there's still time. There's still time if if you listen to this podcast, WWE,
Yeah,
there's still
Triple
time to
H.
make that happen. Triple H, make it happen. Also, I need you to do some research for me as our resident WWE expert. John
Yeah.
Cena lives no further than an 8-minute drive from my front doorstep, right?
Okay. All right.
And he every now and again when you're driving around town here near where I live in Florida, in Land O'Lakes, you'll see his custom like green Lambo driving around, and you're like, oh, there's John Cena. I saw online the other day that he was selling that Lambo, like it was up for auction.
I'll find
Yesterday,
out.
I was driving
I'll
down the
dig.
road. Well, last year I was driving down the road, and I saw a new neon blue Lambo driving down the road. So I need to know, did he A, auction that Lambo, and then B, buy a new like neon blue Lambo to replace it that now he's driving? Just on the off chance that when I'm driving my kid to school, that if I see John Cena going the opposite direction, I can be like, oh, there's John Cena, instead of just being like, oh, there's a random guy in a Lambo.
You should just, for now on, when you pass them, just do the little wave or do this. You can't see me.
Yeah, I'll just drive by him down like just every time you can't see me, and I'm just gonna put like a gigantic like U.S. Marine Corps stuff all over my car, so maybe he'll honk and be like,
That's
"Right
true.
on, brother."
You're right, man.
Yeah, something like that.
Beach season, baby.
Beach season, baby. All right, so that's what we got for you guys. As always, this has been a great draft cycle. We love you so much. You guys make this show what it is, and thank you so much for rocking and rolling with us when we were out in the wilderness, just broadcasting from a bunker somewhere to now with our new digs and our new setup over here with the Foolish Club Media and the Fans First Network. Thank you, Fans First Network, for bringing us into your fold, and Steven Serta for bringing us into Foolish Club Media. We're so blessed and honored to be a part of this, and we're so blessed and honored to have you guys rock and roll with us every single time on this and call us out on our misses, call us out on our strengths, but most of all, we're all Chiefs fans. We're all in this together, and we're all a family. And if you think that we earned the privilege of your time, as always, drop us a 5-star review and tell us why you think why you love us, because we love you guys. And if we didn't, drop a 5-star review and then tell us why we suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give us a 5-star review. Like normally before we'd say give us a bad review, but as an up and coming thing, and we're doing this on our own. We're building this from the ground up on our own. So we need all the 5-star reviews we can to help us gain traction with this thing and really grow to be the awesome thing that it can be. So really, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Take care of each other, love each other. And until next time, see you later.